All right. Well, it is October and I'm happy to see that the sun did peek out today. So I'm happy to see the sun on this day when we're talking about solar. So welcome to all of you. We'll get started here. So first, I just have to say thank you to all of our promotional partners for this event. We did host a series of webinars in October around different topics around energy awareness, clean energy transition, how you can help energy costs in your business. So all of those will be available and shared out, stored in our member site, shared on our resource center, and shared from these partners as well. So lots of talk about energy this month, but it's also a very hot topic right now given rising prices and a lot of conversation around how we're going to transition to a more electrified grid, how we're going to transition to a more clean energy system. So today we're focusing really on one of those ways, which is solar. But if you don't know me, my name is Jessie Servi-Ortiz. I am the Managing Director of the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council, and we are here to help businesses with sustainability. So we really do that through series like this, helping to educate, helping companies measure and improve their sustainability outcomes, and facilitating connection amongst companies. So I have to plug our conference. We have a really big event coming up next month. We're very excited to go to Green Bay, to Lambeau Field for November 16th is the conference date. On November 15th, we will be hosting some tours, facility tours around Green Bay. And we have an awards reception. So the companies that won our Sustainable Business Awards will be celebrated and receive their awards, and followed then by the conference at Lambeau on the 16th. So we invite you to register to join us there. We have a great lineup and agenda set. I will drop that link in the chat when I'm done talking. And if you do want to come up for the 15th, I would encourage you to book a hotel ASAP. Those are almost full and they will close on Saturday actually. So couple more days to get a hotel room if you're thinking about coming up. All right, so this is just my contact information. If you need anything at all from me, it's just Jessie at wisconsinsustainability.com. I'm always happy to help with sustainability related questions or follow up on contact information from anybody that you hear from today that you might want to get in contact with. So now I'm going to transition into our topic. Today, we're going to talking about solar from these member companies. So we have Arc Solar here, we have Current Electric, and we have Sun Peak. So we're just going to go in order. I'm first going to turn it over to Arc to share who they are and share their showcase.
Hi, everybody. My name is JD Smith. I'm the head of business development for Arc Solar. I'm filling in for my colleague Andrew, who is a commercial solar expert. We've been doing solar in Wisconsin for about 20 years now. We've seen a lot of growth from when I joined the team a few years ago of less than 30 people to now well over 100 solar fanatics as we move into 2023. We do every size of solar in the state. And in that time, we've seen an enormous amount of growth, and we foresee the most growth in solar for businesses. That includes projects like the one that we're going to be talking about today, where we're retrofitting older buildings with solar. But one of the key things that we're seeing going forward is businesses looking at new construction, prioritizing solar and other sustainability and energy efficiency improvements and design features to their building. So on this next slide, we have a document that we've been creating as part of this big change we're seeing of a solar ready building considerations. And I think that one thing that we're going to see in the next 10 years is a whole generation of new buildings coming to fruition that are designed with solar in mind. But for a lot of businesses, that's not the case. They need to look at how can we take our existing structure and make it more energy efficient, more sustainable. And on that, I'm going to transfer over to Steve Swanson, who is the representative from CH Coakley, who we've done 3 projects with in the last year. So he can talk about his experience going solar.
Super. Thanks, JD. I appreciate it. My name is Steve Swanson. As JD said, I'm the EVP for CH Coakley and Company. And I just kind of want to walk you guys through, before we jump into the slides and the kind of the raw data, just walk you through some brief thinking we had behind the scenes to bring us to this decision to put solar as part of the strategy. Ultimately, CH Coke has been around since 1978. We've been around about 45 years, and we do warehousing, third-party logistics, and then we are the premier commercial mover providers for the state of Wisconsin, as well as across the country. Now, what's interesting is the Coakley name has been around in the Milwaukee marketplace for about 135 years, so since 1888. Now, that's really cool. We've been around for a long time, but the key is to continue to remain around. Our president, Mike Coakley, focuses on being relevant. And one of the enduring principles that he has come up with is ultimately we need to stay competitive in the marketplace. We need to continuously improve. And ultimately, when we looked at solar and thought as that as part of the strategy, for us, it was almost a no-brainer to make a capital investment in that, because we felt that that was going to be keep us relevant for the next 10, 20, or 30 years to go for both our clients as well as our employees. So that's kind of some of the behind the scenes thinking, just to kind of draw back the curtain a little bit to let you guys know how we came to that decision. But let's kind of just turn to the slides a little bit. So just from a raw data standpoint, when we look at kind of the business numbers, the first property that we're looking at here is Wauwatosa. This is about 192,000 square feet warehouse that we have. It's currently houses the offices as well as clients and tenants. So we took this building as well as the next two that we'll show you as part of the portfolio up to the next level and added solar to those properties. What we're really happy about when you think about just raw numbers, first of all, a couple things. One, we've improved operations through this solar array capital investment. We've saved money. We're reducing the energy demand on the grid for other folks. We're helping our clients meet their ESG metrics, whether it's now or in the future, depending on what they have and when they have them. And ultimately, if you're a property owner, you can increase the value of your building by adding solar, which is just fantastic. So the key thing here is, as we look at TOS, I'll just say one thing on this building, and that is 5 to 6 years for an ROI. We were thrilled by that, both on the demand and production side, to get that 5 to 6 years. I think the average from what I've read is about 8 years. So we're really happy to get 5 to 6 years, as well as all those other benefits that I just mentioned. So just flip into the next slide. So I'm going to just turn this back over to JD real quick, and he can talk about some of the benefits here and the technology related to solar.
Thanks, Steve. So something that we've seen over the Arch's time in 20 years is that solar in Wisconsin means you have to really get creative, squeeze lots and lots of every watt that you can out of the system. I'm sure our other solar exhausts in here will share the same feeling. One of the key things that we've discovered is that with bifacial solar modules, you have a new avenue to do that. So bifacial is really simply just means there's solar cells on the front and the back, or there's a translucent backing that allows these panels to receive photons from the front and the back of the panels. Now, something that was really critical to the success of this installation is that CH Coakley was looking at the investment in solar as part of their business. So when they were evaluating the solar, they factored in re-roofing this section of the roof to the white material that increases the reflectivity by a significant degree, not only during the summer when you have a lot of sun coming down and hitting that white area, but also in the winter when snow covering and snow slides from the panels onto the ground. Then the snow continues to act as a sort of mirror, reflecting energy onto the back. So the two dynamics that are important to focus on here are that one, new technology allows solar to be more and more efficient in Wisconsin all the time, but also that if your business is evaluating solar, don't just look at it as let's plop the panels on and see what happens. Evaluate all the different ways that your business can integrate the solar into the building and the investment itself, just like CH Coakley did with the roofing, and then you have a much better outcome. And so now Steve can show you guys some of the other projects.
Yeah, thanks, JD. So these last two, Menominee Falls, and then the last one, Milwaukee, but just staying on Menominee Falls for a minute. So this is kind of our flagship building in the portfolio. It's about 383,000 square feet. It has an internal mezzanine, so about 133,000 square feet. So it's about 500,000 square feet. It's a multi-use facility, and that means CH Coakley's in there to do warehousing, but we also have the Milwaukee Sting, who's mentioned there, and then another state agency. So you've got an office client, you've got a recreational client, you've got warehousing folks going on. So needless to say, we have a lot of constituencies to meet in this building. So putting solar on here really helped to kind of give us a competitive edge, because ultimately these other constituencies, that's a very important component to them, as well as being part of our business strategy. So the ROI here is a little bit longer just because of the size of the building and the amount of consumption we have here. But ultimately, we think that 6 to 7 years is pretty realistic. And again, it still keeps us under the 8-year average. So let's just flip to the last one here, and I'll just talk through that. You can keep going. That's the North Park again. Yep. So here's the Milwaukee facility. This is the last one here that we did. It's about 375,000 square feet, another large facility. It's a great facility for this particular setup because it's a high power facility. And so being able to use the solar here offsets a lot of demand for us. So again, we're probably in the 6 to 7 year range. Both the arrays on this building and then the last one were as big as we could make them, kind of a thing. So we took advantage of as much as we could. But again, the clients here, again, we're going to have a state agency and other clients, a lot of constituencies to meet. They're very happy with this. So this has been a great part of our strategy. And ultimately, solar for us, the big thing is it's helped us to stay competitive for what the president wanted. And ultimately, it helps us to stay relevant in the marketplace. So we're really excited about it. JD, I'll turn it back to you just for any final thoughts.
Thanks, Steve. So I think Steve just did a great job at outlining how, from the business standpoint, you need to look at solar as part of your entire business strategy. Over the last 3 years in particular, we've noticed a big shift in businesses thinking of solar as a line item, you put it on, or how are we going to utilize this as not just a tool to be competitive, to show that we care about either the environment, our employees, sustainability, energy efficiency, but also how can we envision this as part of the future of our business. And businesses that come in with that attitude, I have shown a lot of success. Local partners recently, the Blifford Lumber has done that with 2 of their new constructions, and building off of the template set by CH Coakley, I think a lot of businesses can benefit from that example of how can we make this part of our overall strategy going forward. Thank you all.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. I would agree that Steve did a great job just sharing sort of the business case and the why for you as a company of integrating this into your strategy. So thank you both so much for that and these great pictures. So now we'll turn it over to Current Electric, and I think Chuck is here to share.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Hi, there I am. Okay. Yeah, Chuck Smith with Current Electric. We've been in the solar business for over 20 years. I started the business 39 years ago as an electrical contractor, but one of the keys to this was to always try to find ways to offer our customers alternative energy choices and efficiencies and help them with their buildings, their homes and businesses. So this is pictures of our facility here in Wauwatosa, right off 117th Street in the freeway, just south of Burleigh. And we wanted to let people know that solar is a definite choice. And as you can see, just like Arch did, we have a white roof, and we are using bifacial modules, which helps out with the production of the system. As we get a more of electric fleet for our electrical vehicles, we will be filling, it will no longer read solar and the whole roof will have solar. So because we'll need more power for the electric fleet. And this is the things that we're seeing is more and more carbon burn is being offset, and we're electrifying things. Electrical vehicles seem to need a lot less maintenance, and so and the car companies are spending a lot of money, billions of dollars to electrify their infrastructure. And as an electrical contractor, we're going to be helping people do that as well. The solar industry is my legacy. Been very excited to build solar in southeast Wisconsin, and we've done it all over Wisconsin. We've done it with other solar concerns and designed their systems, and also so developers and larger systems. But now we are really focusing on helping out some of our homeowners and business owners, and we have Lisa Gleason Bauer and her husband Mike Bauer, and we did their home, and it was in the village of Neshota, and I believe Lisa is here to talk about it. Is that correct?
I am. Hi, Chuck.
Hi. And why am I not showing up on here? Am I doing something wrong? This is a new.
I can see you, Chuck.
Oh, you can see me, but I can't see myself, huh?
Yeah, maybe go up to the view at the top. At the very
Okay.
top, there's a button, and you can click it to
hi.
put multiple. Anyway, thank you so much, Chuck, for the warm introduction. So first, I also want to thank Jesse for inviting Evolution Marketing to be here today and to be part of this discussion. I think it's incredibly relevant to bring in small businesses and home-based businesses, especially since the COVID pandemic, where we know that many small businesses are literally have moved their entire workforce to be fully remote, and even many large companies now are offering hybrid working environments. So what this means is that there's a greater number of people, probably more so than ever before, working from home now for the first time. And I think this then translates to their energy use, and it also translates to what they're doing in their homes. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Lisa Giesenbauer. I'm the president of Evolution Marketing. And Evolution Marketing is a Wisconsin-based, woman-owned, certified B Corporation. We specialize in the area of global sustainability consulting and storytelling, environmentally responsible creative design, and ethical marketing. We also offer a variety of consulting and business advising services from the fields of sustainability, supply chain management, organic natural food, farming, and third-party responsible business certifications. So as a certified B Corporation, that means that every 3 years, our entire business operations are audited for their social and environmental impacts. As part of that certification, we report out yearly our carbon footprint. So our small business is taking very strategic steps over the last literally 15 years, we just turned 15 in September, to literally address carbon in our operations. One of those actions that we wanted to do for a really long time was to add solar to our home. We are an electric vehicle business as well. And so we were the first business in Wisconsin to have the Nissan Leaf literally 10 years ago in 2012. So I'm with you, Chuck. EVs are the future. And I love the fact that my EV now runs on solar from the system at my house. And so with all of that said, I've wanted to do solar for a really long time, but we have not had the financial ability to do that. I learned about in 2021 this new thing. It's not really that new, but it was new to me, and it's new to the Wisconsin banking system. It's called a green mortgage or a green refinance. And I can tell you more about that if you'd like in the Q&A later. But as a starting off point, once I learned about green mortgages, I was like, oh my gosh, we can do solar at our home finally. So in these pictures that you see in front of you, we too have a white roof. Our white roof is a little bit different than the commercial grade white roofs. Our white roof is made out of a shingle called malarkey shingle, and it's cool. It reflects back, but we don't have the bi-directional solar panels that you all were talking about. I wish that would have been. I wish we would have thought about that when we did our project, but I don't know if our level of white roof is the same as a commercial grade, because this is for residential. What I can tell you though about our white roof is that it's called a climate flex roof, which means it's ready for climate change. And that was really important to us. It also pulls ozone out of the air. It does a lot of really cool stuff. Anyway, the white roof aside, we put a new roof on last year. We put solar panels on. What you're seeing in this picture is our literal system. So our home is a 50-year-old home located in the village of Neshota. We put a 10.2 kilowatt solar PV system and a 17 kilowatt battery system. And as you can see from these images, which I have to thank Chuck's team members for taking for me from their drone, you can see 30 Tesla Q panels in the image. Okay, next slide, please. So here you go. You can see some of Chuck's amazing workers. I have to say, the reason we decided to work with Current Electric was because of their workforce development program, which is really important to me. And the gentleman on the left-hand side of the two pictures, yep, Jesse has the arrow pointing him. He was, my understanding, he was a apprentice in the solar division. And so I got to talk to the workers as they were in our home. On the left side, you can see our Generac battery. In the middle, you can see our secondary panel that goes off our main panel, which is where all of the circuits in our homes go, that when we lose energy, those circuits are on. So that means like my well pump will be running. My charging station will be running. Those refrigerator, those are all on that middle panel. Okay, next slide, please. And then, as I said before, at Evolution Marketing, we've been really addressing carbon for a really long time. So one of the things that we did prior to having our solar and also the energy efficiency work done at our home last year is we had an energy audit done. At that time, our home was a rating of a number 5 on the EPA's Better Buildings Home Energy Score. After our solar array, the green roof, energy efficiency, and air sealing, our home went up to a 10. That means that our home is one of the most energy efficient homes in the nation. We're in the top 10%, which I think is super interesting to look at from a business standpoint as well as a sustainability standpoint. And this is also really relevant because all the things we did at our home will in the very near future fall underneath the Inflation Reduction Act. So when those monies come to Wisconsin in 2023 and beyond, many of the things that we've done, other homeowners can do too, which is awesome. And then as you can see in the image there on the left, we have the Generac PWR and inverter. So that's our power wall. And I love it. I'm obsessed with the Generac battery. And it's also the fact that it's made, locally here. And I live in Western Waukesha County, so I don't live that far from Generac. And then next to that, you can see is our Evolution Marketing Carbon Footprint Report, which we do every year. I'm finishing off the 2021 one right now. And again, I think it's really important to share what we're doing. And in that vein, we worked with Oconomowoc High School kids last year to create an eco home micro website, which I will share with everybody in the chat in just a minute. And it highlights in both Spanish and English all of the projects we did at our home, again, as a way to help raise awareness in the residential world of actions that you can take. And we've done it in both English and Spanish. So we have a larger audience of folks who could learn from the things we've done at our home. And that's
Lisa,
all
how
for
long
Lisa.
did it take you to get that footprint on that leaf like that with the water droplet?
We purchased that image. So
I just want to point out that one of the beneficial of bifacial modules is added when they're tipped up, and we didn't want to tip them up on your roof. So the benefit wouldn't be there with a white roof in your specific incident because it's so close to the roof. But you have all the benefits of solar, that's for sure.
I do, and I love it. And we were running, like this meeting right now is being run on solar, which is super great. I just love that. So thank you so much, Current, for being a great partner with us.
Yeah, it's really great to be going down the road and knowing that you're powered by a solar power, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is. And that we have batteries. We've already had a storm and our batteries have already kicked in once. And that was priceless. I had no downtime from a working standpoint. I mean, okay, like 30 seconds where it flashes, but then everything was good. Just amazing. I love it.
Lisa, does it power 100% of your home needs?
Depending upon the time of the year. So
Okay.
that's why we have our battery set so that it'll store. So I've been playing with the battery quite a bit, and Patrick from Chuck's team has been super helpful. And so I'm doing some Lisa research on the best way to set up the battery for the time of the year at my home. So right now, 99% of the energy generated by the panels is going to the home. Last month, only 1 kilowatt hour went back to the grid. So, but that's because of the time of the year it is and how much energy I can tell you on a month by month basis how much energy we use. But the system we got from Current should cover us for the entire year. But again, there's, different times of the year when spring will generate more energy. Early summer, we generate a lot of energy. It just now we're getting into the fall and there's lots of leaves on trees and things like that. And plus the light changes.
Right. The sun is lower in the sky.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your home business story and how this relates to your business strategy and also what's available for homeowners. I know there's been a lot of talk about the Infrastructure Reduction Act and the money coming from that. So we'll be helping and we can ask the partners who are working in these areas to continue to help share out that information, how people can take advantage of what's coming. And I know Lisa has some resources she'll share in the chat. So, all right, well, now we are going to turn it over to Chad with Fun Peak.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Good day, everyone. My name is Chad Sorensen, president and founder of SunPeak. We're a solar provider, and we do cater mostly to commercial industrial applications. We've done a few homes here and there, but it's really not been a focus of ours. So we've really kind of almost from the beginning focused on the business segment. And I guess I would echo kind of what JD said earlier, that, you know, we also see the business segment being an area of major growth moving forward. If you look at the national breakdown of utility scale, residential, and business commercial projects are the smallest of those three. But they've, I think, historically also been the most underserved. Solar kind of got its start, you know, with the, I would say, more of an emotional purchase where people were willing to tolerate a 25 or 30-year payback. That was going on prior to us entering the industry. And the business owners who really, you know, have a duty to provide that return on investment to their shareholders weren't well served by projects that only provided sustainability benefit. Well, that's changed tremendously now with the reduction in the cost of solar, and now with all the new incentives that we are all aware of. The ROI is there, and therefore the businesses are really going to be going solar in a big way in the coming decade for sure. Sean and I worked together on the project that we're going to present. Actually, I think the very earliest conversation, this goes back to about 2015. We ended up building it in 2017, and it was on their headquarters here in Madison. I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself. I'll speak to that once we get to that slide. I guess just to finish up on solar, we do both roof and ground projects. We've done installations coast to coast, including California, Connecticut, and all over. We do have kind of a Midwestern focus. Obviously, we're headquartered here in Madison, Wisconsin. That's where I live. So a lot of our projects are in the Midwest, but we've also done projects, you know, outside of the state as well. And like the other companies here, we're really a full turnkey provider of solar. So we essentially cover the entire scope of the project from the very early stages of doing the energy analysis, return on investment modeling, energy production forecasting, and so forth, all the way through the engineering, installation, commissioning, and then the ongoing operations and maintenance of the system. And that's sort of been a key part of our business since day one, is to be a full turnkey partner on solar, not just for the install, but for the long haul over the 30-year lifetime. I guess with that, we can advance the slides here. Just some of this is just sort of boilerplate stuff. That project in the background is actually a project we're just commissioning this week out in Leesport, Pennsylvania. That's about an 8 megawatt rooftop system that we've been working on for quite a while now. I think when that commissions, it'll be in the top 10 largest rooftop solar systems in the country. So that's another example of a project that we've done. But speaking more to the project that we want to highlight here, which is American Family, on the next slide. There we go. This project right here. Yeah, this was done on top of what American Family calls their support building, which contains their primary data center here in Madison, Wisconsin. Obviously, reliability of energy is of utmost importance. And one of the, I guess, noteworthy things about this project is, unlike most solar projects that are typically south-facing, we ended up pursuing what we would call an east-west or a delta wing design on this. And it provides a higher energy density per square meter on the roof because it reduces the amount of inter-row spacing that's required between the modules. One feature of this design is that there isn't any inter-row shading, because the profile of the project, one row doesn't cast a shadow on the next, which allows you to essentially put the modules closer together. And another nice thing about the east-west configuration is that it is more aerodynamic, and therefore because the system is a ballasted system, it's essentially held to the roof with concrete blocks that are underneath the panels. You can't really see them. The more aerodynamic the design, the less rooftop loading is put on the surface of the building. So like any engineering, there are downsides to the east-west as well. And the one downside is that you don't get quite as much production out of each module. But now, again, with the cost of modules really coming down over in the past few years, there are applications where this east-west system makes a lot of sense. And one of the things that this allowed us to achieve with this project was to achieve a full megawatt on a limited footprint for this project, which had some marketing appeal to American Family, and Sean can speak to that more directly than I can. But just wanted to point that out because it's not necessarily a typical design that you would see. And we do both south-facing and east-west systems. This was just something I wanted to kind of bring up because it was something that's a little bit unique with this project. I think those are the main things I wanted to at least bring up, at least with the opening remarks. Obviously, we can do Q&A later if people have specific interest in this project or other things that I didn't cover. And I think with that, I'll turn it over to Sean.
All right. Do we want to advance to the slide for that? The one slide I do have. There we go. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sean Hyland. I'm a data engineer with American Family Insurance. Previously, when I was working on this project with Chad, I was the facilities program administrator. And one of the responsibilities I had was to drive down our energy consumption around across the own portfolio. And that naturally ties into our sustainability. A little bit about American Family. We are celebrating our 95th anniversary. A lot of the work that we do is to inspire and protect and restore dreams through our products, exceptional service for our agency owners and employees, community investment, and create partnerships to address societal changes. And a little bit more there as well about the company. The main thing I want to talk about just about American Family is that our sustainability work is reflected in our larger corporate responsibility framework. The focus areas of this framework are environmental, community, and people, along with performance and governance. We believe that corporate responsibility means leading in a way that creates positive economic, social, and environmental impact, together with measurable benefits for our employees, customers, agency owners, and the world around us. Our customers want to think of us as partners in progress. They are looking for purpose-driven brands that are authentic, transparent, and intentional. Through our corporate responsibility program, we have the opportunity to strengthen our relationship with our customers and our communities. This in turn strengthens our company. Talking more specifically about the solar project that we installed, we did go out through a competitive process, and Sunpeak was the partner that we chose on the project for national headquarters. At the time, we had 5 other solar installations, 4 10K units that were part of a MG&E project. There was also a project up in our Eden Prairie facility, and that was our first major rooftop installation. And that really fed into creating some traction around solar at our national headquarters. When we installed this, it was the largest rooftop solar installation in Wisconsin. Much to what Chad was saying, part of the reason for doing this was to provide some redundancy for energy for our data center. We do have backup generation on site, but being able to provide a third alternative means of of energy for a data center was important. Sizing was also important because we wanted to make sure that we were able to consume all the energy that was being produced. We have some restrictions on what we can push back out to the grid before it becomes a problem and the utility disconnects us. Sunpeak was a great partner throughout this whole process. They worked with us in evaluating alternatives, trying to get to a production level that was limited by the amount of space that we had on our support building. We had about 3 acres of space that we could work with. And they did a great job of being able to get that 1 megawatt of solar up onto that that footprint. What else? I think overall, though, solar is one of the primary tactics that we are pursuing as we're driving to become net zero, meaning that we, American Family has essentially no carbon footprint, and that extends out through what is known as scope 1, 2, and 3. And with that, I guess I'll turn it back over to yourself, Jesse.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for each of the companies to sort of share, their perspective and their sort of core competencies and the showcase that they chose to showcase as well today. Thank you to those businesses. We'll go ahead and take any questions that you all have now. You can either type them in the chat or you can, go ahead and either raise your hand. There's a raise your hand feature, or just come off mute and ask your question. In terms of starting, we did have one question kind of around the business case for leased facilities. So maybe this is more of a question for the installers themselves in terms of trends, or what are you seeing on, multi-tenant buildings? And Amber, if you had any specific things that you wanted addressed with that question, please feel free to clarify, but I'll pause and let you all answer that.
I mean, I'll just put in my 2 cents on that. Obviously, the easiest proposition is when you're working with an owner-occupied building where the person that's paying the electric bill is also the owner of the building. However, we have done considerable business with leased facilities, and that can go really one of 2 directions. One would be that the tenant is the owner of the system. Usually that's only going to work out if the simple payback on the solar system is faster than the remaining time on the lease at a minimum. We did a project in New Berlin, Wisconsin, a number of years ago, and with a sizable focus on energy grant and sort of the particulars of that project, I believe the simple payback on that project was about 6 years, and they had 7 or 8 years left on their lease. They saw the immediate benefit from the tax credit and so forth, and wanted to add that to their company image. It was a major part of their annual report and their company video and everything else that they were showcasing, and they went for it. And so in that case, the tenant bought the system, and that's who we worked with. We did have to work with the landlord, obviously, because it's still their building, but they were really kind of on the sidelines and really weren't part of the contract. Meanwhile, we're working now with other projects where the landlord is actually leaning forward and investing in the solar, and then in turn either building that into the lease terms with their future tenants, or in some cases it can even be a renegotiation with existing tenants. So it really, at least in our experience, can go both ways, where both tenant and landlord can be a potential customer of solar, even in buildings that aren't owner occupied. I don't know what the others have to say about that, but that's just a couple anecdotal points from our standpoint.
I'll add on. Go ahead, Chuck.
Okay, just real quickly, I'll add, I'm a building owner. I own 2 other buildings that I have tenants in, and both of them have solar on it. One of them was a multi-tenant building, and they were paying a net lease, and now we put solar on it and lowered their cost, and you can figure that out with creative lease terms as to how they can help pay for the electricity that they're using. The other one is a building that I own. It has 2 tenants in it, and decided with to empower 1 tenant, and that tenant is a long-term negotiation that we set up with that. So it does. Let's put it this way. I think there needs to be more at the Public Service Commission to really allow for this to happen. And we are asking for people, all different sustainable people like Renew and these companies to come around with policy that will help us. I mean, solar, we love the sun, and we can provide an energy generator from the sun that does not have a fuel bill, has far less maintenance costs, and is usually less money to make than even a gas-fired turbine that the utilities are building. The problem we have is that sun goes down every night, and even though we try to put hooks in it to keep it up there, it still keeps going down. So we have to rely on the grid and the utility grid, and that relationship with the utility grid and the utility, the Public Service Commission protecting us, protecting all of us, right, as to how we get our energy source. So a policy needs to be written and needs to be clarified that allows us to be able to do these type of deals. And maybe you can speak to that, JD.
Well, I have just a really small tad. I think that Chad gave a great overview, and then Chuck put through some more nuance to it. To me, I think that it's going to be a continual shift with tenant demand. So we have a partnership with a long-term Southeastern Wisconsin property owner company. And if anyone goes down Capitol in Oakland and Shorewood, they'll see a vertical wall of solar. That is a tenant building. And the reason that they were able to go on that is because now tenants who lease that building, they saw that there is a demand from tenants who will be like, oh, cool, building, either a building that has solar, or in this case, it was initially a dental office that they're like, oh, great, no energy bills. That's fantastic. Or low energy bills, for lack of a phrase. So I think that they had to take that leap knowing that there would be a tenant who saw solar and its benefits as a net benefit to them. So I'd say that we need to see, and I think that the people agree, as more tenants go forward with energy costs rising, saying, actually, no, I do want to lease a building that has solar, that becomes a benefit for both the landlord and the tenant to have solar somehow involved.
I'll add one other thing that I think is a lot of building builders are doing. I know we did a lot of projects in Middleton, and that is the common area electrical bill. If you own a building that has a common area electrical bill, usually it's for the hallways, the elevator, maybe the parking lot, to kill that bill. It's a great investment. It's just a great way to increase the ROI on your building, let alone have a green footprint and a more sustainable footprint, and a marketable thing that you can put a TV in your lobby. A lot of our the companies put TVs in their lobby showing what they're doing for both their employees and now their tenants, and really to explain what solar is all about and why. There still seems to be, and it's probably more so in Wisconsin than I think out west and stuff, but there still seems to be this, what is solar and why would you do it? And I, if you put up a Facebook page right now about solar, and we do a little marketing there, it's amazing how many people will try to negate what the benefits of solar are. And usually it's just misinformation. So anything that we can do to improve that information and to improve policy around solar, organizations such as this is just phenomenal. So thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, and I would completely pile on to everything he just said. In fact, I was going to bring that up too if he hadn't. That the vast majority of the leased buildings that we've done projects for, we've worked with the landlord, and it's been offsetting the common area meter. That's I think the lowest hanging fruit right now with the current policy environment. And the unfortunate part of it is it oftentimes leads to a smaller project than what could otherwise be achieved if you were to get down to the tenant meters. But it's still, I think as Chuck mentioned, it's a big drawing card. The landlords put it in. It's a good marketing for them, and the tenants can feel good about it too, that the hallways and common area areas are being powered by the sun.
And I would just add, I think the next thing that we're not seeing yet is what are we going to do with all these electric cars that are coming? None of these facilities, like even your dealerships that are going to be selling these cars, are ready to be empowering. How would you like to be a Ford dealer? You're going to have all these F-150 Lightnings come along, and you now need a 3,000 amp service to power them up, because to charge several of them, you're going to need a large service. And wouldn't it be great to do that with solar? So that's our pitch to that.
I like that pitch. A great discussion. Thank you so much for your thoughts. We do have another question specific to type of roof installation. So wondering if you replaced your roof with the white roof prior to the solar install, and if yes, what did you have under that? Were you able to just go over it? She's saying that they have a rubber membrane ballast roof and wondering if it can be upgraded to a more sustainable one. And do you need a separate roofing company to do that? Or do you work with roofing companies, or what is that sort of prep process like?
Sure, Steve, do you want to take that first?
Yeah, no, I'll jump in. And as part of our project, we did replace the roof because we knew with the bifacials, we'd have some pickup there. If you talked about the backside gain related to the bifacial panels. So we specifically went with that white TPO roof. I think it's a 60 mil. I'd have to look it up, but I think it's a 60 mil. We did use a separate roofing company to do that. So they finished that up. We had an old stone ballast roof, I think the same kind of roof you have now. And we did upgrade to that white 60 mil TPO. It works great. The ballast system sits on it great, doesn't create any issues. So we're very happy about that. And we do get the pickup of the backside gain. So I definitely would look at capital investment in a roof before you throw the solar on there, and definitely look at the colors and the product to make sure that it fits well, because you can definitely pick up additional savings and reduction of energy usage with the right roof.
Yeah, that's a fantastic breakdown. But the only thing I would add is have, and I'm sure my colleagues do this as well, is have us come out and take a look at beforehand, so we could say, oh yeah, this is perfect. Because one of the things that I believe that was the Wauwatosa site has is this rear parapet, which we found that back row, painting that white as well gives another additional backside of gain. So every roof is just like every building. There's a little unique, there's quirks to it. So going out and assessing them on the front end, having someone come out and look at them, is the best way to analyze what changes can be made to improve solar.
And I would just add to that, I think it's a really great idea. We're all professionals and we need to communicate, but it's a great idea to make sure you've got a good roofer. This is a long-term investment, and I wouldn't just go to someone that's not really experienced in the roofing industry and knowing what they're doing, because it's such a big investment and a long-term investment as is solar. And the TPO, I mean, the only problem I see with it is it's a little slippery up there, so just be careful in the winter time. But it's a wonderful roof. Got it on our building too.
Jesse, not to chime in here, but I think we might have skipped over one question when they're asking about current incentives for Wisconsin businesses pursuing PV.
Yeah, I was actually going to maybe end with that question, but if we're ready to go to it, and you have thought, or you have, I'm sure you each have resources for that, and please share.
Yeah, I mean, both JD and Chuck can chime in, but I mean, the short answer is that there are some incentives still available. Focus on Energy has programs for both residential and commercial. Those are different programs that have different structures, but there is money that's being renewed on an annual basis. You kind of have to keep an eye on it in terms of how much money's been expended versus how much is left. But Focus on Energy is one source of some money. Of course, the entire federal program, which is holds true with all projects across the country. One key feature for the recent Inflation Reduction Act, which is a huge thing for nonprofits, is the ability to get a direct payment from the federal government usually in the past, that tax credit that would have been available for a for-profit company was not something that could be utilized by a non-tax paying entity such as a school or a church. And so that I think is a game changer for that segment. And again, that's a federal program, but it would still apply to Wisconsin. And then there are some competitive grants out there being offered through the Public Service Commission. One in particular, the Energy Innovation Grant Program. There's been just kind of looking at an article here about Octopi Brewery here in Waunakee, Wisconsin, received about $500,000. That had some batteries incorporated into it. And I think oftentimes they do kind of look for things that are a little bit, out of the box rather than just a straight solar system. But we've participated in that grant program and recently got some money for a client in town that didn't have any batteries. So that's another pool that can work depending on, what's the content of that application. And it's not necessarily guaranteed, but it's just another thing to think about. I don't know if you guys can think of other things that I'm missing.
I'd say that there's a lot of specific things you could look at, like the REAP grant if you're in rural America or involved in agriculture. It really is project specific. I think you covered the ones that really apply to everyone, which is the Focus on Energy, which is a phenomenal organization, and the federal incentives. But I think that depending on your industry is the big one. So always come in with as much information as possible when you're going to talk solar and look for specific grants. I mean, a Solar for Good is another one for nonprofits to consider, the Cooleyard Foundation.
I just got to add to that. Yeah, I mean, just also in the municipalities and the group buy, there's group buy programs and various programs that are coming and Focus on Energy. One of their games is to have the programs come and go because they realize that more people buy when a program is about to end and when they bring one on. So it is something to look at and watch and build the project around. But there's plenty of incentives that make this ROI a really good investment. The biggest thing that needs to be hashed out, I'll just reiterate again, is the Public Service Commission really needs to make sure that the billing systems that the utilities are setting up are fair for everyone, whether it's a business or a home, and really watch that and help promote it. They can do a lot to help promote solar at the Public Service Commission. So love to see them start doing that even more.
Yeah, I really appreciate those comments. I think that's a good place to sort of bring this final, because we all want to see, clean energy transition happen in an equitable and just way. And we have to make sure that we're having our voices heard as businesses to the legislator and other places that are making these rules and laws. So please, don't be afraid to share. And, Tom, I know Tom's here. I don't know, Tom, if you have any thoughts on how folks can get more involved in that, or any resources if they're interested. But I know it's a good ad. So we can always share some more resources out about that. I am going to also just drop the Cooleyard Foundation information here in the chat. I know there's like solar on school programs. Midwest Renewable Energy Association is another good resource. They mentioned Renew Wisconsin. So we're just really lucky here in Wisconsin to have, a lot of support systems and, and great installers doing this work. So anybody have any final comments before I wrap it up? Anything burning? All right,
Just
great.
it's great to be amongst a bunch of great peers and wonderful customers. I think I love the format of having the customers speak for the projects and I can't thank the customers enough that speak for the projects and really rave on solar. And so all the customers that are going solar, thank you for keeping the sun shining.
Great. Yes, I definitely echo that. I love this space where we can come together and be collaborative for a common goal. So let's keep moving that agenda forward. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And we appreciate you being here.
All right, thank